So, Modded 194 is still fairly new, and a lot of people are still waiting for those big mods to get released, specifically RF-based tech mods. But here I have Actually Additions, a mod that may have slipped under your radar. It is incredibly well documented, very easy to pick up, and number one, 100% most important of all, it is fun to play, and it's fun without you feeling completely overpowered in your world. I think the right word for that is balanced. We've got wireless item routing, upgradable RF powered drills, a wireless energy relay system, RF generation. But before we dive straight into everything, we have to start with all the world gen that's included with Actually Additions. While mining, eventually you'll come across some black quartz ore. When mined, you get back the ore itself, and when smelted, you'll get the black quartz. Black quartz is used for a lot of the recipes in Actually Additions. These are lush caves, because after a long mining journey, sometimes all you want to see is a little bit of green. Some flax seeds, good for growing string. If we break canola, we get the canola seeds and the canola itself. I will explain the many uses of canola later on in the video. The black lotus is primarily used for just a secondary source of some sort of black dye. We got some coffee seeds and coffee beans. The coffee beans are used in the coffee maker machine. Again, we'll get into that in a little bit. You can find rice floating in water. When you break it, you get rice. The rice is mainly used for the large variety of food that Actually Additions adds. It's worth noting that the flax, rice, canola, and coffee seeds can all be planted on soil as you would any other crop. And if you really look at the bottom of ocean biomes, every once in a while you'll find a treasure chest, and it will spit out some loot for you. A lot of machine recipes in Actually Additions require you to create materials implemented by the mod itself. But really, it's the manner in which these materials are obtained that is really interesting. So, the Atomic Reconstructor requires RF to function. It can be toggled from an automatic mode to a mode where it only responds to a redstone pulse. So Actually Additions adds many RF generation machines. Right now I'm just going to be using a coal generator. And then to fuel this coal generator, I'm going to be using tiny coal. Tiny coal is mainly used to smelt one thing at a time, rather than using one coal to smelt 8 things. For the cost of about 1,000 RF, we can fire a laser, but it's really not doing much now. So here I've got emerald, lapis, redstone, coal, iron, diamond, rotten flesh, mushroom, and sand. So it turned our emerald into an emeradic crystal, our mushroom into netherwort, sand into soul sand, rotten flesh into leather, coal into void crystal, diamonds into diamantine crystal, iron into enori crystal, redstone into restonia, and lapis into palace crystal. All of the crystals are going to be used for a lot of Actually Additions crafting recipes, as well as tools and armor. This Atomic Reconstructor still has a few functions though. Here I have a lens. Go ahead and toss this down. You'll see it got converted. Just right click your Atomic Reconstructor with the lens of color. And then I've got a bunch of things here that are able to be dyed. So go ahead and place these down. Everything gets colored. Looks like it's just totally random, but either way, that's really cool. We're able to convert this lens of color once more though. Now I've got a lens of detonation. The lens of detonation requires a full Atomic Reconstructor from what I've tested, and as you saw, it creates a gigantic explosion. And then one more time, this lens of detonation gets converted into a lens of certain death. I think it speaks for itself. So in crystal creation, you're not totally limited to just tossing your items on the ground and then waiting for the laser to hit a wall. You can actually place all of your blocks on the ground directly. And then I've also got some chiseled quartz and regular quartz. Nice! I think it goes without saying that one of these crystal blocks can be crafted into 9 of its respective crystal. So the chiseled quartz gets converted into aesthetic green blocks, and the normal quartz gets converted into aesthetic quartz. These are basically just building bricks. And if we're on the subject of showing off building bricks, may as well show off the black quartz building bricks. And all of these can be made into their respective stairs and half slabs. We've also got lamps of every color. And they can actually be toggled on and off just by right-clicking. They don't require any redstone signal or anything like that. In addition to the crystals from Actual Editions, we have a lot of materials that are mainly used for crafting recipes. I wouldn't argue with you though if you said these make nice building blocks, because they really do. So now that we've got the prerequisites out of the way, and we know what materials are used to craft this and that, we can finally get into RF generation. So here's the solar panel. When exposed to direct sunlight, this will generate 8 RF per tick. The leaf-eating generator will destroy blocks in a diameter of 7 blocks and produce 300 RF per leaf block. Very cool. And again, there's the coal generator. When coal is placed in the inventory, it will slowly generate 30 RF per tick. Next, we've got the heat collector. Over time, when surrounded by 4 lava blocks, it will generate 40 RF per tick. Keep a close eye on this. Every once in a while, it will destroy a lava block. Next, I've got the oil generator. I still have to explain a few things before we can set this up, but just know that it exists. So that's RF generation. But what do we do with that RF? Well, Actual Editions implements a handful of machines that have a variety of functions. So first here, I have a double furnace. You can put 2 different types of ore in there. It will smelt them simultaneously and output into its 2 separate slots. But you may be wondering, this isn't receiving RF. You also may be wondering if there is some sort of conduit system in Actual Editions. Well, there's not a conduit system, but there are a couple ways to transfer RF. So here I have a laser relay. I'm just going to set it in between my solar panel and my coal generator. And I'm also going to set another one next to my double furnace. So if we go ahead and shift right click on one laser relay with our laser wrench, right click on another laser relay, and these are now both connected. So now you'll see that this double furnace is working. There is about a 5% energy loss between both laser relays though, so keep that in mind. So then, what we can do is just connect a laser relay on all of our RF generation machines. It really doesn't matter how you decide to branch your laser relays. All that matters right now is that they are part of the same RF network. One other way to transfer energy in Actual Editions is through phantom faces. So here I've got a phantom energy face, which does require a phantom face. I'll get into that recipe later. In whatever block we attach to this phantom face, using the phantom connector, the phantom face will then act as if that block was the phantom face itself. So as you can see, I have an empty double furnace here again. Shift right click on whatever block you want to be connected, and then shift right click on the phantom face, and now we're getting energy. The phantom faces have a default range of 16 blocks, but if you find the block that it is connected to is too far away, you can go ahead and set a phantom booster right on top of it, and it will go ahead and boost that to a range of 32. I am going to stick with my laser relays to demonstrate the rest of these machines. Ore doubling is becoming one of those, standard things with Minecraft mods these days. And with Actual Editions, you have a crusher. and it does just what you would expect. One ore returns 2 powder forms, with a secondary output chance. But we can kind of take that to the next level with the double crusher. Toss 2 ores in there at the same time, and it will simultaneously grind those ores down into their dust forms. So I'm returning from a mining journey, chopped down some trees, dug some dirt with my all-in-one tool. And I really like this tool, and I'd like to keep it. So I'm going to place down an item repairer. And if we toss our all-in-one tool in, you can see it has 1147 durability. We saw it got increased to 1193. It does require 1500 RF per tick though. Next, I've got a single battery, which we'll get into later, as well as an energizer. I want this battery to get charged up. So we just toss this in the bottom slot here, and slowly it will charge it up. Right now my RF's kind of struggling to keep up, so it's not going very quickly, but just know that that's what it does. I've only used the battery as an example here. This will charge any item that requires RF. But for some reason, I'd like to extract that RF back out of the battery. So here I've got an innervator, which I would consider to be sort of an RF generating machine. If we toss the battery in, we'll see the battery filled up the buffer of the innervator. I've got here a lava factory controller, and when the top is surrounded with casing blocks, eventually we'll get a lava block appearing. Nice. So this is a good way to refill your heat collector without having to go all the way down to the mines. Also keep in mind, for 1 block of lava, this requires 150,000 RF. The vertical digger will mine in, I believe it's a 3-block range, all the way down to the furthest Y level. You can set it to mine only ores, or you can set it to mine everything. The range of this can actually be increased with a phantom booster. You'll notice the recipe for the vertical digger contains some sort of drill. Those will get covered soon. To demonstrate this next machine, I've gone ahead and placed some cobblestone down. I have a long-range breaker here. There are some things in that recipe that we haven't learned about yet, but again, we'll cover them. So you can see it mined all the blocks in front of it. It has a range of 8 blocks. This is also another one of those machines that can be toggled from a pulse mode to an automatic mode with a redstone torch. Night is beginning to fall, so I think this is the perfect time for a firework box. This doesn't require any sort of fireworks to be input into it. It will just randomly fire fireworks out of it. It's very cool. There is also quite a bit of functioning blocks that do not require RF. Getting straight into item transport. Here I have an ESD. This is a block that acts as kind of an advanced hopper. You can select whatever side inputs and do the same for whatever side outputs. So we'll see with that, whatever blocks we put in this chest get instantly output into this chest. But what's cool about this is you can set which slots it pulls from and also which slots it will output into from the inventories that it is connected to. So we'll see that if we put anything in any of these slots, you can see that with the way I've set it, the only things that got pulled out were from these 2 slots. The next tier of this block is the advanced ESD. And what this does, it allows the whitelisting and blacklisting of items. So if I only whitelist this item, that goes through, but if I toss, say, this in there, it does not go through. You can do the same thing for blacklisting. With that, I think it's finally time we get into a wireless item transport. So here I've got an item laser relay, as well as an advanced item laser relay. These work in a similar manner as the regular RF laser relays, except that they transfer items. I thought that was kind of obvious. The difference between the regular item laser relay and the advanced item laser relay is that you have a lot more control over the advanced version, in that you can whitelist and blacklist what gets input and output from the laser relay. And it should also be noted that the regular item laser relay will come last in priority in your relay system, as opposed to the advanced item laser relays. So I'm just going to go ahead and get a system set up here. And again, we've got an advanced ESD. And then next to that, I'm going to place down an item interface. And this is the way that you input or output items into your laser relay system. If you're creating some sort of storage network, I recommend only using one item interface and outputting from that. So we're going to set a laser relay here, and this laser relay is going to be solely for inputting items into our relay system. You'll notice that when we select the southern direction, it says there's 0 inventory slots available. But when we go ahead and place a chest down with a laser relay next to it, and connect these two, you'll see there are now 27 inventory slots available. If we go ahead and throw some iron in that chest, you'll see it's now appeared here. So cool, we have a wireless item transport, right? There's a lot of control you can have over this. So go ahead and break these. So now we're going to get into advanced relays. Shift right click. Now this is the part that may confuse some people. In the inbound section, you will whitelist all the items that you want to get exported into the chest next to it. Outbound, we don't even care about right now. So let's say we want to set another chest here and another advanced item laser relay. And I guess we'll just go ahead and whitelist cobble. And then after that, we'll go ahead and place another chest here with a regular item laser relay there. And then another chest way over here with an advanced relay. Every item is set to pass through it no matter what. Okay, so with my laser wrench, I'm going to connect these laser relays in a manner in which I hope adequately displays the way the priority system of the relays work. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my regular relay with this. Remember, gold is whitelisted here. And then I'll connect this one to this. Remember, cobble is whitelisted here. But then I'm going to connect this advanced to this regular relay. Anything is allowed in this relay. And then lastly, going to connect that to our fourth relay here. This is an advanced relay. Nothing is whitelisted in here. It will allow anything through. So now if we go ahead and put some gold in, you'll see it goes in this chest. If we put some cobblestone in, you'll see it arrives in this chest. But watch this. Remember, we connected this laser relay third. This one was connected lastly. Toss some iron in. We'll see that iron did not go into this regular relay. It went into the chest that this laser relay was connected to. Because this is an advanced relay, the relay system will always prioritize advanced relays over regular relays. So what we can do is we can just go ahead and fill this up with dirt, just so we know that that relay works. Toss some wood in, and we'll see the wood did arrive in this chest. And again, remember, refresh your outbound direction on your advanced ESD, because it gave me the biggest headache in the world. If you've ever found yourself wanting to whitelist more items in your laser relays or your ESD, you can craft an item filter. Just right click and place any other whitelisted items that you couldn't fit in your ESD or your laser, and then just go ahead and place it in your relay or your ESD. So now if we toss these seeds in here, they will now go into this chest that we just used our item filter in. Now, there is one other way to transport items in this mod, with phantom faces. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is place an ESD down here, as well as a chest next to that ESD. set the inbound and outbound to south and north, and then use my phantom connector to shift right click on the double furnace and right click on the phantom face. This phantom face is now simulating this double furnace. So if we go ahead and put some ore into this chest, we can see it is now in this double furnace. And again, keep in mind the phantom faces have a range of 16, but with a phantom booster, they get boosted to a range of 32. Now Actually Additions has two other versions of phantom faces. We have the liquid face, which I will cover later, and then the phantom redstone face, which I'm going to get into right now. So I've set my long range breaker to pulse mode. I'm going to go ahead and set my redstone face on top of that. And if we go ahead and do something like this, where we connect this redstone block, shift right click, we'll see that it works. But we can actually do something a bit complicated like this. We can set a sticky piston down, the redstone block. Now you'll see that the phantom face is still connected to that block space. So now if we hit this button here, very cool. Before I get into phantom liquid faces, I'd like to get into fluid placers and fluid collectors. So if we go ahead and set down a fluid collector, you can see it slowly collects water in its buffer. The fluid placer, when water is input into its buffer, it places that water. These can be switched from pulse or automatic mode with a redstone torch. Now, from what I've tested, fluid collectors output into the back. So I'm going to go ahead and set a phantom liquid face in the back, and go ahead and connect the fluid placer to that phantom face. And we'll see now the fluid placer's buffer is full of water. You may have seen some blocks in those recipes that you didn't quite understand. So here I have the auto breaker. When blocks are placed in front of it, breaks those blocks, as you would expect, really. Then we've got the auto placer, which places the blocks. Now, I don't know why you would want to do this, but you can set up something like this. And then both of these things have their phantom versions. So right here we have the phantom breaker. Now you actually have to set these to a block beforehand. So shift right click with our phantom connector once again. Shift right click. These are now connected. So anytime we place a block right there, it gets broken. And then the phantom placer can be linked the same way I showed with the phantom breaker. Just shift right click on the block where you want the blocks to be placed. Put some blocks in its inventory. This also has a range of 3, and it will place blocks in a radius of 3, I believe. You could potentially set something up like this. So now that we know all that, we can finally get into the process of pressing, fermenting, and creating oil from canola. So I've got a laser relay here set up, so I can input power into my canola press. The canola press requires RF and some canola. And over time, as it presses, it will create canola oil. The canola oil will get automatically output into the fermenting barrel when placed next to the canola press. The fermenting barrel does not require power, but it does create some oil. If you can recall earlier, we set up an oil generator, but that seems to be a pretty far distance to transfer oil. So we're going to go ahead and set up a phantom liquid face here, and then with a phantom booster on top of it. So we'll go over here, shift right click, shift right click. Now they are connected, and we'll see the oil is now getting output into the oil generator and creating power. You've seen how you obtain coffee beans, but what do you do with coffee? Here I've got the coffee machine. It may seem intimidating, but the creation of coffee is fairly simple. So let me shift right click with my connector and connect my coffee machine to a fluid collector and a phantom liquid face I just have set up down here. As you can probably guess, the coffee machine requires RF and water, as well as coffee. And the way you put coffee in the machine is Put your coffee beans in there. It'll slowly fill with some coffee. It also requires an empty cup. If we put 1 sugar in there, slowly but surely it will create us a cup of coffee. But what will it do? So now we've got a cup of coffee with speed 1 on it. If we drink it, you'll see we've got the speed effect. It looks like this coffee has a 3 durability, so we can get 3 potion uses out of 1 cup of coffee. Every single material used to make a cup of coffee has an amplifier limit. Sugar, for example, has a 4 amplifier limit. So if we make a cup of coffee with 4 pieces of sugar, you'll see we have a speed 4 cup of coffee now. So that's cool, but the thing is, it only lasts for 30 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and add 4 pieces of sugar as well as a bucket of milk. Let's see what happens now. Okay, so now we have a speed 3 coffee that lasts for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Milk adds 2 minutes to every cup of coffee, but it removes one of the amplifiers. So say we wanted to make a cup of coffee with something like Regen 2, but I want it to last a little bit longer. Maybe get some strength on there and possibly even some invisibility. See what happens now. Okay, so you can see it did pretty much exactly what we expected. We've got invisibility 1 for 25 seconds, strength 1 for 15 seconds, and regeneration 2 for 2 minutes and 5 seconds. So now we're going to talk about drills. Drills can be recharged in the Energizer. And when charged with energy, right now it's basically just acting as a rechargeable diamond pickaxe. But the thing about these drills is they can be upgraded a ton. So if we shift right click, there's many upgrades that you can apply. There's speed augment 1, level 2, level 3, then we have a silk touch augment, there's a fortune 1 augment, and then the fortune level 2 augment gives fortune 3. There's an augment that will mine a 3x3 space and an augment that will mine a 5x5 space. An augment that can place blocks from a certain slot that you designate from your inventory. Now what you can do is if you put a battery in your drill upgrade slots, anytime you use your drill, it will drain from the battery first over your drill's buffer. So potion rings are rings that you can craft that give you a desired potion effect. These have to be on your hotbar, and they give you level 1 of that potion effect. Then you can craft the advanced versions, which give you level 2 of that effect, and they can be anywhere in your inventory. Speaking of rings, we have the Ring of Growth, and when held in hand, will apply growth ticks to all the plants in your general vicinity. Next, we have the Ring of Magnetization, and this can actually be anywhere in your inventory. It acts in the way that you would imagine. It just pulls blocks towards you so you can pick them up. And lastly, we've got the Ring of Liquid Banning. And when held in your hand, we can now ban liquid. The display stand will display any items that you right click into it, shift right click to remove those items. Now, the cool thing about this is when connected to RF, we can put our potion rings on it, and it will give us that potion effect. Now the thing is, this potion ring only affects us. The potion ring is currently giving off invisibility, but say we want to make these villagers invisible. We can put an advanced ring on there, and it will affect any entities in the area. You can see it's kind of flickering because the RF is not keeping up, but just know that if you have enough RF to support this, it will continuously apply the potion effect to any entities nearby. This will also work with the Actually Edition's leaf blowers. The regular leaf blower will destroy any grass nearby. The advanced leaf blower will destroy grass and leaves. But if we go ahead and put the leaf blower on the display stand, as long as it's supplied with RF, it will function as if you've had it in your inventory. If you've got some extra experience on you that you don't want to die with, use the experience solidifier. In the interface, you can choose how many levels of experience you want to put in. I'm just going to put all of them in, and when you're ready, you can take them back out, eat them, and get all of your experience back. Right now, this is kind of a broken feature. It's not a total one-to-one conversion yet, so just keep that in mind. So here I have a compost, and when right-clicked, it will automatically input 10 mashed food, and eventually that will create fertilizer. There's actually quite a bit that you can make mashed food out of. The fertilizer is basically just a bone meal alternative. And next, we have the automatic precision dropper. The cool thing about this is it functions as you would expect a dropper, except it's constant and it drops the items directly in front of it. So I've got a bunch of cows here, but I don't like having to enter and exit the pen just to breed them. So I've got an automatic feeder here, and when supplied with wheat, seeds, or carrots, it will feed the cows in the general vicinity, or chickens, or pigs, and it will automatically breed them. If you've got an overflow of cows, it will automatically detect that, and it will stop to a certain point. So I've got a chest here, but I would like to upgrade its storage capacity. If we go ahead and shift right click it with a chest to storage crate upgrade, we see it gets upgraded into a storage crate, which can be crafted. If we put some items in there, as well as a storage crate keeper, and we break this thing, then place it back down again, we'll see it still has its inventory, but it consumed the storage crate keeper upgrade. The range collector will automatically pick up any blocks in a 6-block range around it. Make sure you set it to blacklist if you would like it to pick up everything. So I've got a lamp here, as well as a lamp controller. I'm going to set a phantom face here and say just link it up to this button here. Now we'll see if we press the button. My point is, Actually Edition's lamps can be controlled with lamp controllers. So if you're like me, you probably don't really enjoy fishing in Minecraft. So here I've got a fishing net. Place it right above water just like that, and then place any type of storage above it. And eventually over time we'll see that really anything that you can get from fishing will appear in the whatever storage you've decided to place above the fishing net. So check it out, we got a clownfish so far. Let's go ahead and pretend I found this spawner in a cave. If we go ahead and break it, you'll see we get a spawner shard. And you can use these spawner shards to create a spawner changer. And what you can do with this is we can catch, say, a creeper, and if we happen to find another spawner in the world, we can change that spawner to whatever mob we caught by right-clicking. There is a way to obtain flight here with the wings of the bats. They do require bat's wings to craft, and when placed anywhere in your inventory, allow you to fly, pretty much as you would in creative mode. So I've got a teleport staff here, also in my Energizer interface. We go ahead and charge this up. You'll see whatever block we right-click on, it teleports us there. So you can potentially go super far away, as long as you're clicking on a block. And then to top everything off, we've got a huge variety of food. It's always nice to have a few more choices. But that's it. I believe I covered everything. I think there's one thing I forgot, which was the greenhouse glass, which significantly improves the growth rate of your crops. All in all, this is an incredibly well-made mod. It's getting updated very frequently. Every single issue that I've ever had with this mod has been patched. So I hope my information has helped you, and have fun playing with Actually Editions.